8.
Okay, we'll call to order the Committee of the Whole meeting for Tuesday, October 25th. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Miller?
Here.
Rosado?
Here.
Beck?
Here.
Connolly?
Here.
Chanzit?
Here.
Solfa?
Here.
Wolf?
Here.
Barron?
Here.
Lehman?
Here.
Ayazi?
Here.
Malay?
Here.
Ewer?
Here.
Cerrone? And Vogelsinger. We have 12 out of 14.
Okay, thank you. And up next is item 2 is reminder to please speak directly in the microphone for the recording tonight. Item 3 is approval of the minutes from September 13th, 2022. Record reflect Alderman Vogelsinger is here now. Anybody have any comments on the minutes for September 13th? Not, could I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Solfa, second by Ewer. Roll call, please.
Solfa?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Barron?
Aye.
Lehman?
Aye.
Ayazi?
Aye.
Malay?
Aye.
Ewer?
Aye.
Cerrone? Vogelsinger?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Rosado?
Aye.
Beck?
Aye.
Connolly?
Aye.
And Chanzit.
Aye.
Motion carried 13-0.
All right, thank you. Up next is item 4, which is item to be removed, added, or changed. Nothing tonight. Okay, then item 5 is matters from the public. See anybody in the audience? Do we have anybody online?
Nope.
Okay, then we will go right to the consent agenda, which is one item. Item A, approval of the Cow Executive Session minutes for September 13th, 2022 on possible litigation. No comments. I will move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Motion by Wolf, second by Solfa. Roll call, please.
Wolf?
Aye.
Barron?
Aye.
Lehman?
Aye.
Ayazi?
Aye.
Malay?
Aye.
Ewer?
Aye.
Cerrone? Vogelsinger?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Rosado?
Aye.
Beck?
Aye.
Connolly?
Aye.
Chanzit?
Aye.
And Solfa.
Aye.
Motion carried 13-0.
Okay, thank you. Up next is item 7, which is a presentation on Batavia elected representation changes. And Mike Kamen is here.
Hi, everyone. Thanks again for having me. I will be very brief in this one. The mayor requested that I do a presentation for all of you showing the representation changes within the city of Batavia. This is not for our wards. This is more for Illinois State, for the House, Senate, and then also for our Congress districts.
Before you get started, Mike, you will also have to do that for us as aldermen from the census change, correct?
Potentially. Last time I went through, I did a rough analysis on that, and we're finding we don't have enough change to necessitate any kind of ward boundary changes.
Okay.
That being said, I'm still going through it a little bit more. If so, I went through the process 10 years ago, so I'm pretty familiar with how to do it.
Okay.
But with the current count only being officially 78 or something like that different, I don't anticipate a huge swing either way. So,
Okay.
if I do have to do one, I will definitely come and
Yeah, I was
present.
going to say, we might just want to wait, and if we don't have to do it, just wait until after we do the special census that we're going to do.
That's what I'm thinking as well. So,
So you don't have to do it twice.
yep, there we go.
Dan, do you have your hand up? You have a question?
And Mike, you're going to want to share your screen before you go into presentation mode.
That was going to be my ad, and
Yeah, you were right up there.
Oh, I was.
Near.
I had an error actually with where I was last year, or I was with the last census, it showed that I lived in a different ward. So I just wanted to mention that to make sure that when we're checking the lines, make sure that we're still in our wards.
Actually, yes, I went through and I've done the analysis on that because we did have an issue with a couple of people that went to vote and were told they were in the wrong ward. This was like 6 weeks ago, I think. I went through, I grabbed...
Ward, right?
Yeah, so I went through, I grabbed all the data from the Board of Elections with King County, geocoded it, so basically said for every record they had, throw it on the map, did an intersect, then across our ward boundaries, and then flagged anything that was not up to par for what it could be. Dan, you're the one that actually helped out with that like 10 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think he said he was because he was
Okay.
outside.
So, but yeah, so this isn't the first time it's happened. We try to be very diligent about reviewing the county data when it comes in to make sure it's accurate. Still, sometimes things slip through, but when they do, we usually are pretty good about getting back and fixing them right away. So if you guys ever come across or hear anything, please let me know or let Laura know, and we will get it straightened out. So.
And Mike, just so we can, I know you're going to be showing some maps. Can you collapse the people down to just the speak? Yep, exactly. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so for today, I've got the City of Batavia, Illinois, obviously, redistricting recap. So for Illinois redistricting background, so legislative districts can only be done with the census. Congressional districts, there's no restriction when we can do them. Traditionally, they're done every couple of years. 2020 census led to a statewide redistricting, as I'm sure everyone has heard about. City of Batavia experienced many changes within our districts, as I'm going to show a little bit with these maps. First off, we've got the Illinois House redistricting. So this is the 2021 map currently being shown. Batavia was covered by House districts 49, 50, and 65. So that was last year. And this coming year, 3 as well, but we're going 49, 50, and 83. So I'll go back. So as you can see, 83 definitely moved up quite a bit. And then 50 definitely shifted as well. For our Senate redistricting, we went from 2 districts, 25 and 33, to now we have, actually, I'm sorry, we've got 2 as well, 25 and 42. So, and we're actually, before I forget, these packets that I handed out and also the presentation, it'll be on the website tomorrow. I also threw together a web application just to make it even easier on folks, so I'll show that a little bit as well. And then U.S. House of Representatives, we went from having 1 district for the whole of the city, and now we actually have 3 technically. The 2 primary ones are 3 and 8, and number 3 literally just has our detention pond out on the east side of town. Even number 8 only has, I think the mayor was saying, 19 residences within it, so. But it is a big change going from having Underwood to now having Bill Foster as our representative. So, on the packet, if you've got a phone, you can point it at the QR code, pull it up. The web app is live right now. And I'm going to show that really quick. So pretty traditional web app from what I've done in the past for the city. Basically what this one has in it is the layers that I just went over. So on the right side, you see Illinois House 21, 22, and then Senate 20 and 22, and then Congress 17 and 18. Literally just click the checkbox to toggle it on and off. One of the cool things on this one actually is if you turn on 2, so like Illinois House 21 and 22, and you click this button right here, it's called swipe. You can actually drag to see the differences between the years. And it's always defaulting to the oldest one on the bottom. So I would really recommend don't try to do like more than the 2 for the same year or the topic that you're looking at. But it might be helpful to kind of see spatially how we've changed. Let's see here. You can also print. So if you need to get a hold of a map, so say one of your constituents was like, hey, 118th Congress coming up. Can you print me a map? You can point them to our website. It'll be under our City Maps tab. And there's just click here to print and should be good to go. So hopefully that was brief for everyone. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions? Anybody online have any questions? There will be a test next.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. I'm listed on the city's website, so.
I just want to thank Mike because he's been up here before you on other topics, and he just creates such useful tools for many different departments to use, whether it is internally or sometimes externally to provide the public with information. So you really do a great job putting this information together, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all.
Yep, thank you. Okay, up next would be item 8, which is Resolution 22-106R, Structured Wiring Services. Howard?
Mike's got all those neat toys, doesn't he?
You just make sure they work?
So, the cabling project, we've tried to do this over the past 4 years or so, and because of the potential for building remodeling, we kept putting it off. A lot of the network cabling's been in this building since before I got here, and I've been an employee for 20 years, so it's quite old. We did go out and we did an RFP. We gave potential contractors, vendors, a tour of the building. Police department helped us with that, which was very helpful. And we got four proposals back. The proposal that I'm recommending this evening with NetSource Solutions was the second lowest proposal. And they've done an excellent job for us. This is the same company that did Public Works. I think it was 2018. They did an excellent job, very easy to work with. Their pricing is very good. So some of the differences, though, with the lowest bidder, which was only about $2,600 less, were the quality of the cable, the assumptions for possibly moving people out of their office, creating a lot of disruptions, the timetable that they wanted to take. There are a number of reasons why we thought that NetSource was a better solution or a better company to work with for the city. We really didn't have to go through too many checks as far as references. We've used them before, same owner. So that's what we're recommending. And the good thing is we did budget $250,000, and we did have a bid that came in at $227,000 and one that was right around $200,000. I think one of the differences is that some of the areas that are already being worked on and remodeled in the building, a lot of the infrastructure is already getting pulled out. A lot of the ceilings are going to be opened. They're not going to have to do as much work in a lot of these areas. So I'm assuming that's one of the reasons why this project came in so low. I really had no idea what to budget for with we're dealing with a 100-year-old building and hasn't been touched in many years. So rather be safe than sorry.
Any questions, Mark?
More of a comment. It's just interesting. This is where prevailing wages kind of bugs me a little bit because hourly, that's a ripoff. Nobody pays that. I mean, in the private sector, nobody pays that much per hour for that. So that's a little disappointing, unfortunately, that's where we're forced to go on that. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I know when BATV was involved with the high school expansion, when they redid and it was, $100 I think it was $157 or some insane amount for each termination of a network cable at each box that was, an outlet for a computer terminal somewhere. They were all hardwired, and that, to me, I thought was just insane.
Yeah.
That was that expensive, but that was the contract that the district had, and that's what we had to go with.
Yeah.
Was what
It
their
just,
prices were.
most of the contracts that I see, I don't have any perspective on construction work and stuff like that, but when I see this, I'm like, yeah, I have perspective on that, and it's unfortunate, and that's why government costs so much.
I think they offered a good price, so overall.
One question, Howard, are you going to have conduits installed so you can pull, so say 10 years or whatever, you want different network cable or fiber or different things, we'll be able to pull that through there and not have to deal with what I know of the nightmares that are in this building? Is that going to be part of it? Or is it just going to be the hangars that are typical
Well, there's
for...
going to be hangars
for-
down some of the main
Right.
ways, and then they'll branch off from there. And it does require some kind of support every
Okay,
4 feet or so.
right. And will you have like main conduits coming out of your tech rooms upstairs?
They're going to have to put some holes in the floor in a couple
Okay.
areas. We're putting more cable in the building than what's here now.
Right.
Every time somebody wants to move or we get a new employee and, hey, can we put a printer here?
Right.
We don't have a network cable, so
Right,
we
and
are
so that's
putting-
what I was thinking with the conduit side of it. If it's conduits that are there and permanent, then you can add those other circuits without having to try to pull a separate.
We're also preparing for the future of phones. We're taking all the phone wiring out of the building during this, and that's all. Besides taking the old network cable out, we're pulling the old phone cable out. But back to the conduit, yes, there's going to be conduit. It's in the building remodeling plans, and I also, with Kevin, had some ceiling tiles and looked to see what's in the walls now, because we have some cables that are on the outside walls, and I thought, oh, wow, how are we going to get to that? There's no drop ceiling at some of these locations. A lot of that area gets drywalled from the last 3 or 4 feet to the wall. So I popped the ceiling tile just to see how difficult this would be, and I was pleasantly surprised. There was conduit. So we can fit, I believe, 2 of the 6A cable that we have in the conduit. If there are some areas that don't have conduit and we're going to put some extra cabling in, they're probably just going to have to run it down the wall. There's no way to get conduit in unless they're ripping the walls apart.
Okay.
I don't think we want to do that.
I just wanted to make sure that we are not just looking at what has to be done today, but the fact that I'm sure something's going to change in cabling or fiber over the next 10 or 20 years. So that way we can expand or change to that without having to rip walls out.
It'd probably be
Yeah.
wireless by then.
Yeah, everything will be wireless, okay. Does anybody else have any questions? Anybody online?
No.
Okay, then I will make the motion that we approve Resolution 22-106R, which is authorizing task order number 2 with Net Source Solutions Incorporated to install structured cabling system at the Jeffrey D. Shelkey Government Center.
Second.
Motion by Wolf, second by Ewer. Roll call, please.
Wolf,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Ayazi,
Aye.
Malay,
Aye.
Ewer,
Aye.
Saron, Vogelsinger,
Aye.
Lillard,
Aye.
Rosado,
Aye.
Beck,
Aye.
Connolly,
Aye.
Chansett,
We lost it.
and Solfa.
Aye.
Motion carried 12-0.
Okay. Let the record reflect that I believe Alderman Chanzit left the meeting. Okay, we'll move on to item number 9, which is Resolution 22-107R, Conference Room AV Services. I'll let you have this one, Howard.
So we're trying to get a little bit of a jump on a couple of things here. Back in August, we ordered or contracted with a company called Fathom Media who worked on this room in the past, and we want to have them come in and work on this room in the future. We ordered equipment, I believe it was back in August, and some of it is still not in. So there's definitely a supply chain issue with getting equipment. Part of the remodeling project is moving the great room, resizing the great room, putting a couple of displays out here to replace the bulletin boards. So we called in Fathom Media to take a look and give us some ideas and suggestions and give us a proposal to get this work done. In addition to that, we had budgeted for the fire department training rooms. I know back in 2008, there was a grant given to our fire stations, our fire department, to put in AV equipment, and that equipment's still there. And I don't know if they use it anymore. I don't believe they do. It's very proprietary. It doesn't really work well with modern conferencing programs such as Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So we're trying to get that replaced as well. That allows the fire departments to actually do some training and be on the east side and the west side of the river. They don't have to come maybe to downtown. I know sometimes they use this room, but now they would have more options to do training in their individual stations. It'll also work out well for other departments who may want to use those training rooms. I know we just had training there for the city hall employees today, I believe, wasn't
Yes.
it? Yeah.
I was there today.
Yes.
And I would also point out that there is a lot of regional training that's conducted, and having this equipment gives us a better chance of being selected as the site for the training, so that our personnel don't have to take the time to travel to other places for the training.
So there's definitely going to be some improvements in what's going into the training room. And I noticed the first thing, and I hadn't been down there in a while, but the first thing I noticed was a whole table full of remotes and a number of different switches under the counter. So we're going to eliminate that, simplify it. We're not putting in anything like this, but it's more of just a push button, input, output, so forth. So it should work a lot easier for anybody who comes into the room. It also has some cameras. I think 2 are going in at the east station, possibly just 1 at the west. I have to verify. I believe we just wanted 1 at the west. But and the screen, the resolution definitely at the west station is going to improve. Right now, the projectors are the old kind of square 4:3 projectors. So now they're going to be widescreen. The resolution's going to be better. There's going to be some microphones added to the room. So it should be much improved over what we have. And Fathom Media, they've worked in this room a couple of times. I've been pretty happy with this solution. When there have been a few hiccups, they have come out quickly. They're responsive. We haven't had to have them out very often. So, I'm really pleased with them as a vendor. I can't think of anything else that I need to say.
Anybody have any questions? This is just another step in making sure that our stuff is up to par for the reality of the world now. Yeah, Mark?
On the 2 displays, so the bright sign that you're buying, great piece of hardware. Haven't worked with it, but I've been through plenty of demos on it. But I thought about it. Does the park district and the school district, do they do anything like that too? And if they do, I wonder if we could piggyback on with what they're doing, or if they don't, we should let them know that we're buying that, because that's a platform that supports like tens of thousands of endpoints. So it would be something that multiple entities could use, and you just buy those players, and then you could say, okay, Park District, you can only control these players, and School District, you can only control these, and that way there could be more digital signage, and there could be advantages.
We can look into that. I know Lori does talk to all the other entities in town and tries to support, but that's for other agencies, either on our site or in our newsletter. So I would probably rely on her to make those connections.
Yeah. I just wonder if like the school is already using something like that we could take advantage of.
But I believe it has to be connected to our TV. Not 100% sure.
Sure. Well, what I'm saying, everybody gets a device. Every TV gets a device, but then you segment those devices, and I mean, the school district could do it where it's like, hey, here's JB Nelson content, here's high school
Okay.
content, and then if it was all one system, it'd be like, okay, here's 2 for City Hall, and this one's displaying this,
Oh, I
and this
see,
one's
yeah.
so
Like
it's
a cluster of.
yeah, they're meant to be very robust, and retailers use that type of stuff. I think Foot Locker might be one of those that uses them at all their locations, and so it's meant for thousands of these, not just like 2.
Okay.
I mean, it can be used for 2, but I just wonder if somebody's already using something before we buy our own.
Yeah, thanks, Howard. How does this compare to what was budgeted? This price here?
It's within the budget.
Okay.
It ended up, we have some budget in next year for some of this equipment too. When we initially budgeted this, there were some parts to the system that we hadn't looked at replacing at that time. Now we feel it is time. They have a lot of analog switching equipment down there, and it gets difficult trying to turn on the right remote and finding the right switch to turn. So now we're trying to make it simpler for them by integrating it. So the price did go up from what we budgeted last year, but it is covered in the budget between this year and next year. We think we're going to be able to order it. We might get some of the equipment this year, and they require 50% down. They're a small company. So then next year we would pay the other 50% to.
So we didn't get the same good deal as we did on the cabling under.
Well, yeah, the cabling was lack of a better term, kind of a crapshoot based on what we did at Public Works 4 years ago. And I think if we weren't doing some of the remodeling and having some of that area cleared out, it might have been more money. But and then we have some other material in this building that could have created some issues, and a lot of that's getting cleared out. So yeah, that budget was kind of rough. I wasn't really sure where to go with it, and I didn't want to fall short. So, but yeah, I mean, Fathom is I've checked their prices in the past, specifically when they did this room last time, and the equipment that we ordered for when they move and replace some microphones, and I can't get the equipment for what they're charging us for it. So I think their prices are fair.
I have a question. I'm just curious, for AV services throughout the city, does it always come out of the IT budget or out of the individual department budgets? Like, this is coming out of IT, right? Not the fire department budget?
It's actually coming out of the building budget,
Okay.
because Peggy felt that it was something involving the building. So it's, I guess, DPS budget.
And that's what's typical for situations like this?
Things, yeah, that are more building related. Peggy wants to keep it in the building budget. Things like the surveillance cameras, access control. We do a lot of support for that. Sometimes we may come to you guys and request something for that system, or Scott may come But, yeah, typically Peggy wants to keep it in the building.
And also, I think because it was one component of that larger project of the remodeling project, and so to keep it all
Okay.
itemized in one CIP so that you could see all of the different costs associated with that.
The cabling project is also in the building budget.
No, no problems. I'm just like trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
We're all.
So can we find out before city council if like the school district is already using something like this, so we could piggyback off of their contract because it would just be more efficient?
I work in an elementary school. They are using Mimeo systems, so they have something that's kind of different than what this is. So I think that they're all pretty. I can't speak to the middle school or high school. I think they're fairly new. So
I can tell you from experience, I doubt that the school district's IT department is going to want to share anything.
I concur.
Just an observation.
Yeah.
We can't even get a direct internet connection in the press box. One line.
You check with the library or park district.
Yeah, somebody.
Somebody.
I don't think this product is that much money.
No, I know it's
Yeah.
but you know me. I'm
Well,
gonna
that could also
I'm gonna
be something
find
that
ways
we-
to save money
That could
for
also-
everybody.
That could also be something that we offer with the park district or the
If they're
library
not.
if they want to use something like that.
Yes.
And then they could pay us instead of buying their own
Yes,
system.
exactly.
That's true too.
And I think that would probably be a more plausible situation than the school district.
For the money that we're paying for that portion of the system, it might cost us more in coordination over a year period to cover that cost.
Because we'll have
I'm
to
happy to
enter
look.
into an intergovernmental
Yeah.
agreement, which was, then there's the legal fees associated with, on both sides of reviewing that. So, yeah, sometimes, but on larger projects, it does make sense.
Else?
Nothing else? Okay, I'll make the motion that we recommend council resolution 22107R for the conference room AV services.
Second.
Motion by Wolf, second by Ewer. Roll call, please.
Wolf,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Ayazi,
Aye.
Malay,
Aye.
Ewer,
Aye.
Saron, Vogelsinger,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Rosato,
Aye.
Beck,
Aye.
Connolly,
Aye.
Chancet, and Sofa.
Aye.
Motion carried 12-0.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, I just wanted to mention one other thing while I'm standing here about the emails that I sent out today. I know it's not on the agenda, but I just wanted to see if anybody had any questions about what we're trying to do or need a quick explanation. And more specifically, I'm wondering who remembers their password?
So it's at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Do we have to like magically be there ready to go at 9 o'clock, or just after 9 o'clock tomorrow?
We will activate it at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And we'll start asking you for your login, your password, and then how you want to set up the secondary authentication, which can be a text to your phone. So you can put in your phone number and say, yeah, you'll send me a text. And
No, we have to do that every time we?
No.
No, okay. When you set it up.
if you change your password
Mm-hmm.
or you log into a different device,
And that's when you'll have to use the other auth.
you have to use
Like
the
if I
code.
use it at work, then I'll have to use it again. And if I use it at home, I'll have to use it.
Once you set it up, and you go to another device,
Mm-hmm.
it will ask you to enter a code, which
Okay.
will come on that device.
Okay,
So on your phone, and you'll just put in the 6-digit number
okay.
that they ask you for. So, and like I said, in the email, we typically don't push password changes, because it is difficult.
Yeah.
So this, knowing that this is probably a very good thing for you.
Yeah, it's a great idea to do it. And sometimes browser upgrades will clear that. So you'll be like, why is it asking me again? It's a browser upgrade that's usually doing that.
I think if you run email on the browser, it's going to ask you every time. But if
And I know from going to SharePoint, it asks me every time that I
Yes.
go to SharePoint.
so many of us just leave it open now.
Yeah.
It'll be good to know that I'm not getting emails on my work email from the mayor. Or the mayor,
Or gift cards.
Yeah.
or vice versa.
Right.
That was kind of funny. I was like,
Well, if
That won't stop that.
I definitely don't remember my.
okay, you can
Reset your
you can-
password tonight and write down what your new password is,
I don't even
And
know how
that-
to do that.
and then you'll be ready for it tomorrow.
Write down.
I can work with you on it
Yeah.
tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, that's fine.
Way to go.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys.
you're the people I dislike.
This is not. This is above my pay grade. IT. This is what I go to IT for.
Just
Okay.
about to start coughing as I give my status
Project
report.
status. Go ahead, Laura.
Okay, so there is just a ton going on right now, the likes of which we really don't usually see coming into October and November in terms of activity where development is concerned. The 2 model homes are under construction in the Winding Creek subdivision, and they have a number of other models of home that they have into for under review for permit as well in community development. So I think that's we're going to see that subdivision get built out pretty quickly. There seems to be a high level of interest in people purchasing homes there, which is exciting. We'll be adding to our community in a significant way. We expect that Chipotle is going to receive their certificate of occupancy this week, so we hope to see them opening soon. The city is working with Both And Productions. You probably have seen real improvement in the quality of the photography that we are using in the materials that we produce, the pictures that we have of the city of Batavia really showing us in a very good light. But another project that he's working on for us is an update of our, I'll call it our marketing video, our economic development video that gets used for many different purposes, but we hope to have that completed in November or early December. We have reached out to some other cities to see if they might be interested in joining us in the educational campaign surrounding single bag use. And City of Elgin, St. Charles, and Geneva have expressed an interest in joining us in that. So that'll be nice to have it be regional. And we'll also reach out to South Elgin, North Aurora, and Aurora to sort of kind of complete that region. Be nice to collaborate with them on that. We also seek to get community input on the downtown plan, and people can still take that survey. There's a link on our homepage in the headline stories. And a lot of progress has been made here on the City Hall remodeling project. The remediation has been completed as well as demolition, and we're now moving into the construction phase. But we believe that due to the complexity of that construction phase, that will go into probably mid-year next year. And just a reminder that the first budget meeting is going to be a special committee of the whole meeting on Thursday, November 10th. And then also a reminder that the schedule in November for meetings is, I'll just call it weird, because of the month starting on Tuesday, November 1st. Our cows will be on November 1st and November 15th. And then our city council meetings will be on the 7th and 21st, those Mondays. So, and then that will leave the opportunity to put the public hearing for the budget on November 15th. And then we would still have an opportunity for a special additional budget meeting on November 29th, should that be necessary. But hopefully, we would be able to approve the city council budget either at the second city council meeting in November or the first city council meeting in December, as we traditionally have been able to do. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Leah?
Laura, did you say that the interest in the single bag use was Elgin, St. Charles, and Geneva?
Uh-huh.
I thought Geneva didn't have home rule.
They don't have home rule, so they're not doing it, they're not imposing a fee. But they're happy to
They're in-
join in an educational
education,
campaign
okay.
to encourage less use of single-use bags.
Okay.
Just on a side note, I was out in New England last week, and it's everywhere. And all through Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, any place you go, you got to pay a fee for a bag.
I was overseas, and I don't think I saw one in France.
A bag.
I didn't see those, the ones that we get 12 of at the grocery store. Yes,
Well, on that topic, are we going to be discussing an ordinance then coming up before the end of the year, or will it be
yes.
before?
This doesn't have anything to do with bag fees. This is more of, I was surprised to see a bus depot, Sam's Club. Do we,
It's not a bus depot,
What is
so
happening?
that is first student.
okay.
Very, very temporary. They were having their, they are located off of Redant, and they were having their
yeah.
entire parking surface repaved
Okay.
and fenced, and so they needed a place to store the buses just for the few days that was being done.
Cool. Yeah, one day I went to, after a hockey game, we went to Portillo's and I was like, oh, there's a fence up here. What's going on? Then the next day after a hockey game, we went to Portillo's. I was like, there's a bunch of buses here. And I was like, So I figured I'd ask before we all start getting questions about what's happening.
It was already beat up really bad on Facebook already.
Oh, okay.
And it's over. After somebody said, oh, I talked to the mayor, and it's just a parking lot for temporary.
And I told him it was going to be a Christmas tree lot.
I love it.
I just have one question.
Sure.
The training that went on today and then Thursday, what is the alternative if you're not able to attend any of the sessions, or is it not an option?
I'll tell you that the training is so beneficial. We are so fortunate to have as our trainers a police department who are the group that respond to these types of crisis situation. So really encourage you to, if at all possible, to attend. However, there are a couple of videos that are associated with the training, and there is a PowerPoint presentation, and so we can provide you with those materials if there just is. Sometimes things happen where there's just no way that you can attend the live presentation of it.
Yeah, really missed it last week.
It's all right. There's one more chance this week.
I know, it's at 2:00, so I am taking off.
Right? I understand. Any other questions? Yes.
I have a question.
Sarah.
I know Gary's not here tonight, but could we at some point in time get an update as to how many residential homes added solar panels this year?
Sure.
Just to revisit that conversation.
That actually would be a question for Scott Buning, because he gets the permits for those.
Okay.
And also EV charger.
And yes, thank you, Jen. And EV charger installations too. Any permits that were
What
pulled.
subdivision are you asking about?
All.
The whole city.
The whole city.
That's another thing in New England solar, it was everywhere. I couldn't believe how much solar there was on houses and fields, and it's incredible.
It was kind of strange to me. I was out west of here this weekend and south of here, and there's signs all over from probably the other side of Sugar Grove all the way down to Ottawa, but no solar fields, because they're starting to pop up out there. I mean, there's several of them that are probably, I think the biggest one out there might be 5 acres.
That's the max the state will
Allow. Yeah, and they're, I think what it is I think they're gonna try and, like, plaid the area so that they're not next to each other, because I know that's one thing they can't do, is they can't string 5 of them together
Yeah, you can't
in
have,
one spot.
you can't have 4 or 5 megawatts. They can't be on the same site.
Yeah,
Yeah. And usually the 5 megawatt ones can handle anywhere between 400 and 900 homes depending on the technology area.
these are, if you look at where the ones I've seen that are out there, all this goes all the way out to like to Lee County, they're right on where there are major power lines, like where there's 345s or whatever the bigger ones are, they're right alongside of those,
Yeah,
along
that's
those
the
lines.
interconnections, but there has to be agreements with Ameren or Comet,
Mhm.
whoever that is. Like you're going to start seeing more of them across the entire state, up and down,
Mm-hmm.
further south, everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Start testing your infrastructure.
Well, I think that's another good reason why what you asked for, Sarah, to bring that up is to start talking about that. If, all of a sudden we get to the point where we have to start thinking about that, how do we pay for that? How do we pay to upgrade the infrastructure that connects everything when that's what we own? And, and that has to be part of the equation so that way it can handle it. I mean, if everybody goes out, or I shouldn't say, if 10% of the neighborhood start to add, a charger, that's another 50 amp circuit in the house. And if you only have a 100 amp service in your house, you're going to have to upgrade to 200. I mean, then that'll be on the homeowner, but that's still, you add enough of those in a block, then you have to start,
You got to start redistributing.
yeah, you're going to have to figure out how to make the grid more robust to handle that. It'll be fun.
Got to talk about it.
Right, well, and you can't ignore it. It's just, it has to be something that gets talked about. We talked about, Abby and I had a meeting, we talked about some of that stuff, we have to start thinking about how any of the new developments that we have, should that be a requirement? I mean, if we get to the point where we're gonna adopt another building code a newer building code, do we start thinking about, hey, even if you don't put the wiring in, should they be conduited so that there's that availability in the garage? So if somebody has an electric car, they're only spending a couple $100 to pull new wires through it. They're not spending thousands of dollars to put the new circuit in. Yeah. Well, and I think my personal feeling is I think if somebody wants to buy an electric car, they should have solar panels. And the solar panel should do the majority of the charging of the car. That way you don't have to worry about upgrading the grid. The solar panels can do it.
Yeah, then you have to be home during the day.
Then you just have
So
to have a
the sun
battery
is
pack in the
shining.
garage.
Yeah.
Basically, you have to have another battery.
And you have to have a yard that gets
Yeah, that's
solar energy to it.
I will tell you though, it's really bizarre. The family across the street from my mother has solar panels. They face, perfectly south, but they're right up next to a forest. I mean, there's literally trees 20 feet away from them, and somehow they still work.
You get some.
And along those same lines, the subcommittee for the climate action plan should be ready with our presentation for next week's CAL, if we can be added on that agenda.
Excellent.
Have we moved to others?
Yeah.
Yes, we are in the middle
Okay.
of others.
For next week's cow agenda also, there was a request for River Street discussion for next year, and if we could get that on the agenda also.
Maybe make sure that we have Main Street and stuff invited for that if we're going to talk about it.
I'll also send it out to the list that we created for the One Washington Place project for all the local
Businesses.
and property owners.
Right. Good. Mark?
Rumor has it that Full Moon no longer has a liquor license because of passing away of the owner, which I believe the liquor license was under his name. I don't know if that's true or not.
So it could be transferred to someone, but at this point, we don't know if there is anyone who is going to come and stand in his place as running that business. So right now, we're working to find out what the resolution of that is.
Okay. And I've heard rumors that the people that work there are interested in making it a nicer place, but I also
They
want
would pursue that with
Yes,
whoever. that
obviously,
individual
they'd have to
is.
pursue that, but my understanding is that also, sorry to bring this up, but gaming licenses, you would need to have a liquor license for a year before you'd be eligible for a gaming license, and gaming licenses are not transferable, is my understanding.
I don't think that that is true if it continues as the same business. If the business changes, then maybe not. But if it continues in business as the same corporation, then I don't think it's true.
Isn't it based on the ownership? I'd just like more
It is,
clarification
but-
on based on the ownership, or not the ownership of the business, but who the liquor license is.
Right, because if the liquor license is revoked for any reason and the gaming license is tied to a liquor license,
Yeah, it's conditional
do they
use.
not then have the right to have their games being used?
Yeah, a revocation would be a different situation. At this point, their license has not been revoked. We're waiting to see if there is a family member who is going to come in and take ownership of that business.
And before you can do any of this, you've got a state license that has to be approved, and the city then can hook on to the state license, but we can't issue a license without a state license. So
You have to
whoever's
transfer
going to
that.
take over this business, got to get in line here and go into, talk to the state about coming in and getting it. And then, of course, the state's probably going to want to see your dram shop insurance. And that can be a pretty pricey little item. So, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Laura and I and the police department have spent quite a bit of time today discussing this, because there's some people that think they can just waltz in and say, here I am, I'm running this place now, and that's, by rights, you guys have to vote on the license for this place.
I'm sure there's many more legal questions than
Yeah.
what we can answer.
Right.
Right.
Because I'm sure that, again, with the state license probably being number one,
That's number one.
and then the city license.
Then they have to come in for an application,
Mhm.
and then the way this works.
It switches. They need their local liquor
Oh,
license before they
first.
can
Get
get a
them-
state
okay,
license.
But then the city council is voting on the license to give it to them, so.
Oftentimes when there is just a change of ownership of an LLC, I'm not sure that we do issue a different license. So for instance, in the case of, I'm not sure that the Casey's had to come in when they bought,
I think they have to come in and get a new license.
did they? Okay. We're running it all through the city attorney,
Right.
so.
Hitting this right
As long as we do it right and we know that it's
Right.
there, then we'll just
And
deal
there's
with it.
nobody that's, other than the one on Batavia Avenue where the death just occurred, there's nobody else that's really in a helter-skelter situation that they think they need this tomorrow type.
Well, I'm just curious in situations like this, when the owner who has the licensing under their name, if they pass, do the doors stay open or do the doors shut at that point
I don't know.
until the legal things get resolved?
We're getting an answer to that.
Yeah,
That's a state.
That's a city attorney question.
Right, and I think
City
that,
attorneys.
to me, that's pretty important, because if they would have to close it, that's pretty important, because I doubt their insurance would cover it if they can't operate the business without the license. If the license is not enforced because it's tied to the individual, that could be an issue.
We haven't had one quite like this in
Yeah.
quite a while. So city attorney is having to delve into it and make sure we're on the right road. Thank you.
Kind of related to that subject, I would like to see, it doesn't have to be on the next cow or anything, that we have a discussion about what our city code or liquor code allows council or the mayor to do when there's businesses where their patrons are causing disruptions in the neighborhood, and whether there's an option that we can look into changing the code or what, just a discussion on that point.
We have already had a discussion with our city attorney about that, and we do have the authority to pursue action in the event that matters are not addressed.
And in the past, we have.
Any other questions? Anybody with a hand up online? If there are no others, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
Ewer, and second by Malay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Have a good week.